Hello, my name is Jackie Mugito. I am an owner of a brand called Jackie Mugito Cosmetics. I'm also a Hollywood makeup artist and I work on TV, film, and fashion shows. I specialize in special effects and also beauty. The first African Hollywood makeup artist. I also have a brand in Zimbabwe that I created 9 years ago, sorry. And now we've expanded into Kenya and has been rebranded to Jackie Mugito. We are in Kenya, we are on Amazon in the United States. We do pop-up stores in the UK, and we are in Uganda in Lintons, and we are here in Kenya in Lintons. So this is really exciting. We launched probably about 6 months ago, and we're doing really awesome. But why I'm here is to show you that I am you, and you are me. I'm African, I had a dream, and all I wanted to do was work in Hollywood. I would watch people on TV and think to myself, how can I do that? What motivates me in the morning and what drives me to do what I want? Because I'm a small company and everybody tells me you can't do it, and I have big companies that I pretty much compete with. And knowing that I have something that is different, and knowing that I have a family around me that completely believes in what I believe in, and knowing that I have fans that come on my social media and on my Instagram every single day, and they're like, oh my God, Jackie, I feel like I know you, and I feel like you are me, and that motivates me. I'm like, okay, next day, what's the challenge? I got this. I am originally from Zimbabwe. But right now, I presently live in LA because I'm a makeup artist there. I literally work there as a full-time job. And I was interested in starting a brand that was great for Africa as a whole. I fell in love with Dr. Joyce, who is the owner of Lintons. She reminds me a lot of, what I aspire to be. And this is why I'm in Kenya and launching my brand through Lintons. What motivated me was the responsibility as the only Hollywood celebrity makeup artist. I knew that there was something that was missing in the industry as I opened up my own kit to do makeup on people my complexion. I realized at that point that not only had I educated myself within the artistry, but I also educated myself within the products itself. And it was my responsibility because there was a lot going on. We look at ourselves and we look at the Americans and we look at the Europeans, and what we do is we compare ourselves. And it was a time for me to say, hey, listen, this is the deal. You can look like your own person. So for me, climate was really important. My products are climate adjustable. And I looked at the climate and I said to myself, you know what? I need to make a product that is amazing for the African climate, and I need to make products that match our African skin and just make us the ownerships of who we are as a people. And nobody else was really doing that. I always wanted to be some type of artist, but as a child, I really wanted to be a makeup artist because of my own insecurities. I used to watch my aunts, transform from these women that just were kind of like, normal ladies to these fabulous women. And I just thought to myself, my gosh, if I could give myself that much confidence, this is what I aspire to be, and also make people look like that as well. In Zimbabwe, we were influenced and colonized by the British, and anybody that was light in complexion was able to get jobs, and they weren't discriminated as much as the people that were darker that was discriminated. And I remember my mom always trying to encourage and let us know that your skin is beautiful. The reason why you have this dark skin is because of the climate. There's no difference between a black person and a white person. My parents didn't receive it well, and that's only because they didn't know better. This industry is conceived as an industry where you can't really take it far, you can't do anything with it, and they didn't understand that you can take it to Hollywood. They didn't understand that you could do TV and actually make a career and actually make a name for yourself. And so my father always said to me, what do you do? What do you sell? He didn't get it. He only got it when he saw me in Forbes magazine, and he only got it when we were featured in the Mary Claire, and he only got it when we were featured in all these other amazing places. And then my dad was like, you can actually make a career out of this. When I first started out, 9 years ago. The first 2 years I did what we call branding. And when I did branding, I was working with American companies where I would consult them, see what they have, and put my name on. That was the cheapest way to go. But with coming back and forth to Africa and also being a makeup artist and always also wanting that authenticity, I realized that I needed a chemist, and I got a chemist. And it's taken my life savings. But again, because I love what I do, I think by now we've probably put, my husband and I, about $900,000. It's very difficult when you go to a foreign land. There's so many obstacles. You can't just get into a foreign land and start working because you need permits and all that. As I waited for my permits, there's a lot of things that I had to do. I had to work as a maid because that was the only job that you could do without a permit. And being a dreamer, I knew for a fact that I could think and dream out of the world and imagine myself at that point in the job that I felt was the lowest point of my life, and imagine it as something temporary, and imagine the house that I was cleaning as my house, because I had a bigger goal. And with that, I went to school and paid for the school. I mean, I was there for a year. It's a $30,000 school. It's really expensive. It's a makeup school in Hollywood, the best makeup school. It's called MUD. And from there, I did internships and had that African attitude of doing whatever you can, and people really seeing your positivity and wanting to be around you. And therefore I started working and getting jobs. One of the biggest things with makeup artists is a lot of celebrities trust the people that they've actually grown up with. And I haven't really grown up in America, right? And getting the celebrities to really trust my art and my craft, and having big celebrities trust my craft. Like, I just recently finished a movie where I work with Michael Coulter, Michael Ealy. I did Michael's makeup, and I also worked with Hilary Swank, who's an Oscar winner. And I did special effects on her. She had her own specific makeup artist. But it was great because my attitude and also seeing my resume helped a lot. And just word of mouth helped a lot. Those have been most of my challenging. Saying, listen, I'm this African woman and I'm actually capable of doing everything that everybody does in Hollywood, whether it's special effects, whether it's beauty. I know my craft. I've been in it for like 15 to 20 years. You have to trust me. In my home country, my parents were very, very strict about makeup. So I would put on black eyeliner, and my dad would be like, oh wow, you look fresh, and I'd be like, because I'm an artist. I love to draw, and I was fascinated by highlights and shadows, and I was fascinated by the transformation, because when you do special effects, that's when you can really see the transformation. Imagine making somebody who's absolutely gorgeous into this really old person who's like 70 to 80 years old. There's something satisfying about that as an artist. Oh my gosh, once I was done with the studies, I worked with an actor named Orlando Jones. And at that time, Orlando Jones was like really up and up. And he was so awesome, and the director was so awesome, and they wanted me to work on other things. And I worked on a show on ABC, and before you know it, producers and all these people know about you, and everybody starts referring you to other jobs. And I've done so many other things. So it's been amazing. Everybody's absolutely amazing, right? And I just worked on a movie that was very, very intense, and the time was also really intense. And I worked with Michael Ealy and Michael Coulter. And I have to tell you, you have these stars that are doing a movie where it's so emotional. And a lot of times, people are really in their own heads. But there's something that struck me with Michael Ealy. As much as he was in his head and preparing for whatever role that he was playing for at that moment in time, he was so polite about it, because it's easy to be just rude about it. And I remember one day he texted me right before he got on set and said, Jackie, Today, I'm in a mindset that, I just don't really feel like talking, 'cause a lot of things are going on. So please don't mind me. That, to me, was amazing because that never happens. I mean, he forewarned me. And to me, I've worked with a lot of people that had never happened to me before, and it just blew my mind. That experience blew my mind. Because, as a makeup artist, you are serving your client. This is what you're doing. You're the first person that they see, and you're the last person that they see. And, and they don't have to be polite. But the fact that he was kind and polite and respected my art, that to me was amazing, because that's what we ask for as makeup artists. People think that, oh my gosh, I have to leave my environment in order for me to be able to go out to Hollywood and do it. This is what I've been telling everybody. Being that I'm the only African Hollywood makeup artist working in Hollywood. Are there Africans working and doing makeup in Hollywood? Probably. But there's a union called Local 706. And from what I understand, there is a Moroccan, and then there is a white South African, and then there's me, the African, right? And what tends to happen is all these movies come to Africa. They come to Kenya, they come to South Africa, they go to Nigeria, and they, for the most part, they bring a team to those places. And I want to change that. I want to be able to have a school or even influence like a school like Linton's and say, hey, listen, I went to a school that taught me to be a Hollywood makeup artist. Why can't we have that in Africa? And all these, the government looking at it as, if you want to come and shoot in our country, we want you to hire within. To me, that is the most important thing, and this is what I want to do. We need to revolutionize that. You might be watching the show and thinking, how do I do this? You can do it in your own land, in here, right? We have actors, it doesn't make sense that Lupita will have a makeup artist that is not African, right? Lupita should be able to come to Kenya and say, you know what, I want to look for one of my own. She's big enough to request for one of her own. And that's how you end up in Hollywood. You need to do your work and have experience so that Lupita can say, I want a Kenyan makeup artist. YouTube is a great tool, but then the YouTubers are selling products. And when you're selling products, you're not really teaching people the technique. So for example, I look at movies in Africa. There's a certain standard look throughout all the movies in Africa. I look at the makeup when I walk around in Africa. There's a certain standard look as we walk around in Africa. There's a different type of makeup for different type of looks, for different type of TVs. When I work in the movie and I talk to the director, okay, or the director of photography, he will call me and say, Jackie, you need to be able to look at somebody when you're watching a movie and not go, oh my gosh, their makeup is absolutely amazing, and concentrate on the makeup. It should be, they need to get lost in the story. There shouldn't be any distraction when you're watching a movie. You shouldn't be able to say, oh my God, that hair, or that makeup is whatever, right? You should be able to sit down, look at the person and say, oh wow, they're beautiful, but at the same time get lost in the story. And as for Africa, we're not there yet, because nobody has said, okay, you're doing a movie, a sad movie, right? Why is the person crying and they have like all glammed up for this position if they've lost their child? It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like someone's depressed, they need to look at that depression. This is why you find actors, even if they look natural, they actually still have makeup on. So we're not there as Africa because nobody has said anything. So it takes people like myself that are working in Hollywood, that have the experience, that are working with these Oscar-winning directors that tell me, Jackie, that look is not the look that we need. We need this type of look. You're not going to have makeup that's distracting for your clients. You're not going to have makeup that's distracting in court. You should be able to get to court and people take you seriously for what you're doing. So the makeup has to be really natural. Groomed eyebrows, maybe a softer lip, right? Make foundation definitely for any spots on the face. You know, I always say foundation is extremely important. If somebody comes with mark all over their face, all you're concentrating on is the marks all over their face. So their makeup is very muted, right? And unlike somebody like myself, I'm an artist. You know, I'm selling a brand. So I should be able to show that I'm selling a brand. So this is where the difference is. Understanding the characteristics of where you are and what you are doing. You should be able to walk and somebody should be able to say, that is a lawyer. That is a person that works in a certain office. That is a doctor. I can't imagine a pediatric doctor wearing lashes and red lipstick. I mean, those children will run away. You know, so she has to be muted. Like yesterday, we surprised a teacher at school with a makeover, and we went to her school. And one of the things that she said as we were doing the consultation is, I teach autistic 5-year-old kids. And I want to be able to walk into the classroom for them to see me, but I also want to look cleaned up, groomed. So it was easy. Eyebrows, little powder, mascara, lips, enhancing her features, and we're good to go. Changing the mindset of people, changing how we see ourselves. We need to be respected as Africans. We're as good as anybody else out there. And as Africans, we need to also support each other. So if by showing that I can do anything that an American can do, then I should be able to be getting support from my own people. I'm such a dreamer, and if I wasn't a dreamer, then I wouldn't be in the situation that I'm in, right? Because I remember being in Zimbabwe and watching TV, and I remember watching the Cosbys and thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I really want to be in that world. And then to turn around years later and actually do makeup and all those people that were on the same TV show, like completely blew my mind. So dreaming is a plus, complete plus. You can make it come true, for sure. My advice is believing in what you're doing, loving what you're doing, but most of all, researching and educating yourself. Super important. And looking into somebody that has been in the industry for a very long time and also following their journey. Nothing comes easy. Not only do I run a brand and I am in the United States and I'm running a brand in Africa, and there's so many challenges that go with that. And we work extremely long hours. Like the movie, we were working hours like 19 hours to 20 something hours. And then when I'm done, I'm calling my team, you know, and saying, hey, this is what we're doing. And one of the biggest things that I always had a challenge with is how do I balance that? And every single time I feel a sense of, oh my gosh, I can't achieve this, I know for a fact that I love what I do. Because if I can wake up the next day with like an amazing smile and say, you know what, yesterday was really hard, and today I can wake up and say, it's time to move on, it's time to do this. I love my craft. I am active on Instagram. Everything for me is on Instagram. So if you go to Jackie Megiddo, JACQUEMGIDO Cosmetics, it'll come up. Or you can just Google makeup artist, Jackie Megiddo, working in Hollywood, I come up. We have our water-based foundation, right? This water-based foundation is expandable, which is great. You can mix it up with your moisturizer or primer. Look how much I'm using. Just this little bit right here. Do you see that? Okay. Take this little bit. It goes a long way. I'll take my finger and we're going to do some coverage. Let me not forget. Let's not forget. Let's not forget. We need a little shimmer. We need a little shimmer. And there you go. Quick makeup. Perfect. That was quick. Let's show you a mirror.
The main motive of the religious leaders was to lead people back to God. But in the current society, the religious leaders are driven by greed.